Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my final tea time chat of 2024. We're going to be talking about overconsumption. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I would like to tackle the topic of overconsumption in my tea time chat video. I don't have a cup of tea, I just have a glass of water because I don't know why. I'm just really thirsty and I thought that a glass of water would be much better than a cup of tea. But when I'm done filming videos this afternoon, I'm going to be making myself a hot chocolate because we are having hot chocolate weather, you guys. It's dark, it's gloomy, it's rainy. It's a typical Dutch December. So let's just get chatting to you about overconsumption and share your thoughts in the comments down below. So yes, before I get down to the topic, I would like to tell you that tea time chats are going to stay in 2025. I know this video doesn't get a lot of views, but I love hearing your thoughts and I love sharing my thoughts with you on these different topics. Let me know in a comment down below what are some topics that you would like to hear me talk about. Like, what are topics in the beauty community online that you see going on that I haven't talked about yet? So let me know your suggestions in the comments down below, because then of course I can make it happen. I do these once a month. We sit down, we chat. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me. It's all fine. We're just having a lovely conversation about things that I see going on in the beauty community. So let me know your suggestions. And the thing I wanted to tackle in December is the topic of overconsumption. A couple of months ago, I chatted to you about underconsumption and the phenomenon of underconsumption of like what you see on social media, and that it's super duper trending to, it's sort of like the 2024 version of minimalism in my book. Like a couple of years ago, minimalism was all the rage. Everybody was going minimal. Everybody's doing declutters with the Marie Kondo method and whatever. And I feel like underconsumption is like a new rendition of that. But the opposite of underconsumption is overconsumption. And I feel that December, right before the holidays, is the moment in time that we overconsume a lot altogether. And I'm also seeing so many beauty creators, especially now, especially on TikTok, I see so many people setting up either a complete no buy for 2025 or a low buy or whatever. And I just wanted to share my thoughts about how I feel about all these things. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it is the fact that I watched a documentary 2 weeks ago that's new to Netflix, which is called Buy Now. Watch it if you haven't, but I'll tell you a little bit about what happened in that documentary, because that kind of goes into this kind of conversation as well. So let's just get to it. So first things first, overconsumption, I think, is a huge problem that we deal with when it comes to clothes and makeup, and there's so much overconsumption going on. And I think that this is also something I said in that video about underconsumption. I think a lot of people can look at what I show you on my channel and think that's overconsumption. But is overconsumption having a very full wardrobe, or I just counted my books the other day, having close to 1,000 books, or having 300 plus eyeshadow palettes? It isn't if those collections of clothes, books, and makeup were slowly but surely accumulated over time. And that's definitely what happened. I still have my Naked too from way back in the day. There's a reason why I have a lot of products, and that's not necessarily just because I overconsume. I don't have 10 Stanley cups. You know what I mean? I've had the same water bottle for years now. I'm still using a to-go mug for getting tea and coffee at work that I've owned since 2013. Like, if things don't break, I don't replace them. I tend to not do too much with it. So overconsumption and that idea, like what you see some influencers do, where like restocking TikTok, have you ever seen that side of where these people just buy containers to put other things in that are already in perfectly fine containers? That to me is mind-boggling, and that to me is like overconsumption to the max, or like these people who like restock their ice cube tray. Have you seen those videos? I have a lot of feelings when I watch that sort of thing. That just makes me go like, it's actually a reason for me to sometimes even stop watching certain creators. I used to really love watching Jessica Braun, but when I saw the amount of like buying she does, I was like, wow, I could never ever do that. Like, surely I do a makeup haul every single month with the new bits I buy, which I buy to keep the channel running for the most part. But there are so many aspects of my life where I barely spend money. Like, I've had the same pillows for the past 7 years, you guys, on my couch. And like, I don't really spend a lot of home decor. I don't like buy old, like, this is new. I got some new Christmas ornaments and like decorations for around the house, because a lot of things I got were broken, or like lights that no longer worked, and then I tend to replace certain things. But I don't really tend to spend a lot on other areas in my life. So I have focus on where things go to. And that's something that I also wanted to like chat about, because it's like the end of the year and a lot of people are looking back on their spending habits and, you know, things you may want to change for 2025. And I'm hearing so many people going like, I'm going on a low buy, I'm going on a no buy. And I'm like, but you're part of a system. You're part of a system that thrives on everyone over consuming. And that's where the documentary comes in. So the documentary Buy Now it was really interesting. I think they could have gone deeper, but they kind of explain to you how, well, marketing works in a way. It's about marketing. It's about like producers not taking accountability for the problems they create in the world, but they just tell other people like it's your problem. So as a consumer, we're made to feel guilty for the amount of stuff we buy, but at the same time, governments and businesses keep asking us to buy stuff. So it's a complete like catch-22 where we all know we shouldn't be doing certain things, but at the same time, the problems are created by the companies who produce the goods. And that's sort of what Buy Now is also about. And it interviews a lot of people who've worked for Adidas, for Amazon, for Apple, for like big clothing retailers, why there is such an issue with also some of these retailers. And for instance, one of the examples that's in that documentary is about the clothing industry, and they also talk about Shein. And the issue isn't just people buying Shein, it's also the fact that Shein just overproduces so many clothes of bad quality. And, you know, the market will say the consumer wants this, but consumers don't want this. We want our phones to keep working. We don't want Apple to put a bug in our system so we buy a new phone every couple of years. Where does the idea come from that consumers want next day delivery? So what all of these companies are doing is they are forcing us into this race to the bottom and then say it is our fault, which in a way it isn't, because if Amazon stops doing next day delivery, they could just do it. They set the standard in the industry. So before that, it wasn't an issue. The same thing with things like Zara and Shein. Before they started overproducing, these things didn't happen. However, the idea is we need to produce things because people need to keep buying things because we need to keep the economy running. To me, that's very strange. So we're stuck in this sort of like downward spiral that just because you decide to do a no-buy, unless there are any issues with your actual spending habits, you can no longer make ends meet because of how much you're spending, that's when there is a problem for you personally. But if you're starting to do a low buy or a no buy because you're trying to like take a stand against the system still exists and the system is only getting worse. And that's definitely something, you know, I by now, I buy most of my clothes on Vinted. That's a shift I made in the second half of 2024. Lots of secondhand things. If I want something, I first check it out on Vinted. Will there still be things I buy new? Yes. Especially because I find certain items just really, really tricky to buy them secondhand. But overall, I think that, yes, we are all doing our best, but at the same time, we are not the only, like, the blame shouldn't just be for us. It shouldn't just be us who bear the costs of the transitions that are just needed in order to make this work. These companies are making millions, billions of dollars / euros, whatever currency you think in. And if they were willing to make less profit, a lot of issues would just resolve really, really easily. So I definitely think that a lot of the problems that are going on, and especially when it comes to overconsumption, like what you see online, like people having 40 Stanley Cups, I'm like, those are the things I never even watch. Like I said, the reason why I have so many things is because slowly but surely over time with my wardrobe, as I developed my personal style a bit more and I knew more what I wanted to wear, I bought things and I've added things, and then now I'm like, I'm happy. You know, I'm pretty happy with what's going on in my wardrobe. I don't feel like I need anything. I've actually just recently, you'll see in a haul on my other channel, I think January, February time, that what I've actually started doing now is to replace items in my wardrobe with better quality items. And that's something that I have been doing for the past 2 or 3 years now. I started with shoes. I've been doing it with bags. I've been doing it with like other clothing items as well. I've been investing more in like wool and cashmere and linen and like real materials and things that take a little bit more care to take care of them properly. And I also feel that way about my makeup collection. I did a bunch of rankings of a lot of my eyeshadow palettes in August. I ranked my entire eyeshadow palette collection for you guys. And as I was putting the video together, I realized like there's so many things that are so similar. So I know that come 2025, I just need to declutter like half of my eyeshadow palette collection. Maybe not half, but there are probably still some that I would want to keep around for video purposes and being able to chat about things with you guys, because that's, let's be honest here, a reason why, not only why I have so much, but why I keep so much around, is so I can do videos where I chat about like older palettes. If I still like the palette and I can like see myself using it again in the future, I tend to keep it, because if I throw it away, that's the real shame. You know what I mean? So that's also the thing. Once when the minimalism trend happened a couple of years ago, I didn't understand all these people who were getting rid of everything in their life. And I'm like, at some point, you're just going to rebuy everything again. So I'm always very careful with throwing things away, because if you throw things away, that's when it becomes a problem. The buying itself isn't a problem. It's a problem if you go into debt doing it, and it's a problem once you like discard it because there's a lose button. I like what I said about Vinted, right? It's mind-boggling what some people will sell. I have received items that I am super happy with, and all they needed was a debobble, or they needed a stitch being put back on. And people are selling things because they don't know how to fix it. Or they sell it because it's too high maintenance. And I'm like, that mindset I have never understood. This idea, like, oh, this was my biggest pet peeve back when influencers first were sent a lot of things. And I know that a lot of fashion creators actually just did this with their own money, where they will place orders on websites, try on all the clothes for the video, and then send everything back. What do you think is going to happen to those clothes? That system wasn't created for you to buy 500 euros worth of items only to return almost everything. I've never understood that. Or creators who like were going on a beach vacation and then they do like a bikini haul. I'm like, if I want to go to a beach or if I want to go swimming, I have a perfectly fine bathing suit that every once in a while I check whether the stretch isn't like broken or anything. And only when it breaks will I go out and buy a new bathing suit. I have a couple that fit me well, that I like, that I feel confident in, but I don't need a new bikini every single year. You know, like I just don't get that feeling of like, oh, I'm going on holiday, or it's going to be my birthday, I'm going to buy a completely new outfit, or it's going to be Christmas, so I need new clothes. I'm like, I'm of the opinion that I'd rather have a couple of options that no matter the occasion, I can pick something. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's like a super duper special occasion. But, like, I had a couple of weddings to go to this year. I have plenty of stuff in my wardrobe that I can readily wear to a wedding. So I did. I have plenty of things that if I have certain things to go to, a Christmas party that needs some sparkles, I can wear something sparkly to a Christmas party. It's not that hard. I just have a few items in that section, and I will sometimes even wear them on the daily, because it's not just party wear, you know? And that's the part that I have never really understood about, like, especially the holiday season. That's when people start to buy things, and like, and you can tell, like, if you're a creator online, you can tell, like, I can tell from the stats on my blog, I can tell from the stats on my YouTube channel that that's when people start looking for things. Also because there are sales, of course. We just had Black Friday, and like pretty much all of November nowadays is like one big sale month, it seems. And of course, you know, that's when retailers really see like an uptick in the purchases that are being made. And I'm like, but why? Why? Of course, if you've saved up for it, then it's absolutely fine, but at a certain point, you're done, right? You're done buying certain things after a while. You're done filling your house with stuff. There's only so much space you have, I think. But that's, you know, there are just certain things that, like, I never really have been the person who, like, needs the newest iPhone, or who needs to, like, feels they need to follow any trends. Like, I've never been that kind of person, so I never really understand it. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, why are we doing it? And I think that especially December with the holidays, and you're buying all the presents for other people, and you're shopping, and you go into stores perhaps a little bit more often than you normally would. And I'm like, yeah, then it kind of makes sense. I see myself doing this as well, where I go shopping for presents for people, and you're, oh yeah, but that's fun as well. I might buy that for myself, or, you know, you kind of do that as well. So it's the little bits that you then add. But I try to be very careful with that when I go into store buying presents for other people. I tend to, like, just focus on, like, this is why I'm here. I don't need anything else right now. But yeah, it has certainly happened in the past. That's actually how I found the Catrice Falling Colors. I was shopping for my niece and nephew to buy presents from them for the holiday season. And then I walked into my local drugstore and I found that palette, and I was like, oh, that's very pretty. I'm going to pick it up. So that's also how certain purchases, of course, happen. And that's also how stores function. You know, that's how shops end up being designed. They are designed to make you buy things. And that's another reason why I wanted to refer back to the documentary here. There's a couple of bits in the documentary where these people have worked for these really big companies who, like, explain how that sort of works, like how you're made to buy certain things as well. So in a way, like I said, if you're not going into debt and you can't afford it, then you don't really have to worry too much about it, I think. You're part of a system. The system is set up in such a way that us spending money altogether is the thing everything is measured by. Like, if you've ever read a report in a newspaper about the economy not doing well, it's very often because people sit on their money and they're not spending it. The entire Western economy thrives on consumers spending money. That's what the whole thing is made. That's how the system is designed. So overconsumption itself, yes, it's a huge problem, but where does the problem really come from? Is it us buying something nice to have after a hard year? Maybe not. But yes, if you are someone with 10 Stanley Cups, like unless you're a family of 10, let's be real here, then maybe you do need it. Yeah, so there's different, like, what do you need, what don't you need? And I think that especially here, we buy a lot of things that we don't necessarily need. Again, that's what our economy is designed to do. Most of the other things in life that you need, this is, if you're familiar with the Maslow pyramid, whatever, there's a hierarchy of things you first need to meet, and then da. For most people, I think, watching my channel, the basic needs are being met. Because if the basic needs are not being met, you don't have the money to spend on something frivolous as makeup, right? That's what the focus of this channel is. So, in a way, if I look at it super black and white, then the fact that this channel even exists is evidence of, like, everything that's going on in the world. But at the same time, I also think that overconsumption, it's a system that we're in and that we're a part of. And yes, we can be mindful of things, and we have to be careful with how we spend our money. But at the same time, it's companies and governments that need to think about how we do these things. And companies need to be happy with making a little less of a profit. So, food for thought, I think. Let me know in a comment down below how you feel about these things. I would love to know. This is definitely a little bit different. And, you know, what I do with these videos, I kind of sit down and just throw my thoughts out there. So this probably didn't make a lot of sense. It was probably very ranty. But that is how I feel. And I just think it's a topic to, like, think about and talk about with each other as well, because I don't think we can ever do it, like, perfectly. And I definitely think that that's another thing that I don't like. Like, some people make it their whole identity of, like, no buys and, like, minimalism and whatnot. And there's always going to be people who do it better, or say they do it better, or say you do something wrong. And then I'm like, but that's, you know, it's another thing with, like, you know, people being vegan. I could never be vegan. Not because I don't want to, but because I have a severe B12 deficiency that if I don't eat animal products, I can barely supplement it. I would love to go vegan. I would just not be the happiest person of myself. So you never know what's going on behind the scenes for certain people, and I definitely feel that topics like this can make people very sort of like, roar. So I'm very curious to see what the response will be to this video. Let me know in a comment down below how you feel. Like I said, thumbs up this video in the meantime. And as I mentioned, I will be back with another one of these tea time chats very, very soon, because I will be bringing them back in the new year. For now, thank you so very much for joining me. Take care. Have a good day. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more by me. And then I hope to see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.